Um,
Yeah.
but Miss Gibson, thank you so much for just give us a few moments of your time to for this interview on the podcast.
No problem.
Like I know you on tour, right? Well, tour. How's the tour going so far?
Right. So what you should know is that there's leg one and leg two of the tour. So we finished leg one, and that was absolutely fantastic. It was such fun, and it included us singing at the Hollywood Bowl with the legendary Gladys Knight.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it really was awesome. So that was great. We sung in Las Vegas also, and San Jose and Santa Barbara. But now we're about to embark on leg two, and that's when the hard work will really begin. We'll be singing at 27 venues in total all over America. So we leave on Sunday for that. So we're very excited.
Okay. I mean, I know I'm not the first person to say this. Much like everyone else, just seeing you at the royal wedding, and we're going to jump into that. I gotta ask, can you wrap your head around life right now? I mean, like, just when you sit down, you break down God's favor, you see the
Yeah,
opportunities you've gotten.
yeah,
Like, in order to get ready for this interview, I try to
yeah.
do some homework and try not to sound like everyone else and ask the same questions that everyone else has asked.
Right.
Like, you're
Oh,
on
that's
the
okay.
you're on a list of London's most influential people. Um,
Yeah, that's a bit crazy, isn't it?
yeah, that's why I asked how. Like, here's some of the nicknames I was encouraged to call you. You have nicknames.
Oh, oh,
You are
yeah.
London's gospel powerhouse, the godmother
Right.
of gospel.
That one's funny. That one is very funny.
You recently
I,
got a chance to take your mom to Buckingham Palace.
yeah, that was great. That was a
And
lot of fun.
out of all of this, you're pretty much a down to earth, low key person. Has notoriety been an adjustment?
It has. I'm gonna be honest. Getting stopped down the road when you're just going to the shops or you're going to the laundry, is still incredible. I mean, I think it's nearly a year and a half after the event, and people still recognise me, mostly because of my hair, to be fair. And people are still really excited and thankful and grateful. So I keep forgetting that you know now the platform that I'm standing on means that people will see me and recognize me, and I have to be aware of that. I'm still getting used to it, to be honest with you.
Okay, okay, that's
And
fair.
when people say hello, yeah, 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 I think so.
Well, Karen, like, let's just jump right into it. Like, the royal
Yeah,
wedding, that's where a lot of people kind of know you from, myself included.
yeah, yeah,
However,
yeah. That's fine.
what a
Yeah,
lot of people don't know is before the royal wedding, uh, the Kingdom Choir has performed for many notable individuals such as Queen Elizabeth II, Bill Clinton,
yeah,
Desmond Tutu,
yeah,
Nelson
yeah,
Mandela, and watch this,
yeah.
on a much lower extent, the Spice Girls and Elton John. Isn't that weird? For a while, you were England's best kept secret. I'm very curious. How does it feel to be like this? I guess the go-to person where no one's talking about you, but the
Yeah.
people you're entertaining, and then overnight you become this 22-year overnight sensation.
I can't even quantify it, or yeah, I can't quantify it for you. It's just very weird, and we still pinch ourselves and say, what are we doing here? How did this really happen? So it's like an undreamt dream. And that's what I would say to you. It's like a dream that I didn't dare dream. That's what I would say.
That's fair. Now,
Yeah.
I am unfamiliar with the gospel community in London. Uh,
Yeah.
Pretty much all I know is Levine Hudson and Misha Paris.
Oh,
That's all I know.
yeah. And really, and so they, I would say that Misha Paris, I think that her platform is much broader than gospel now. She was very, very popular on the gospel scene. I would say about a good 20 years ago. And our lovely Levine Hudson passed away last year sometime.
Right.
But I would also like you to know that the gospel community is much, much broader than those two names that you have given me. And it's a thriving scene. I mean, you have gospel in the churches, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
You have gospel in the schools. You have many, many community gospel choirs where the members are not necessarily Christian. And you have gospel music blowing up in Europe as well. So it's, gospel music is huge in London, in England, and in Europe.
The reason I say like that's all I know is because it's funny you talk about Misha Paris is because of her crossover appeal, in which you got a chance to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit and see that she has come up in gospel music, and then when you go back and it's like an onion, you keep peeling those layers back and peeling those layers back. Now,
Yeah.
the reason I'm bringing up them is to kind of go back to you, because you weren't always performing for dignitaries, pop stars, and anyone else that was at that. Like, you, in the beginning, grew up in a black Pentecostal tradition, where,
Yes.
and I'm quoting, where you was quoted to say that singing is the thing. And can you tell me some of the people that inspired you, or made you feel alive and made you want to sing?
Yeah, I've got to firstly mention the Winans brothers. They're the reason why we started singing.
Hey, right here in Detroit, of course. Oh, we know the Winans.
Yeah, and the reason is because actually I never meant to sing. That wasn't my thing. Both my sister and I are classically trained, and we had started a gospel wind quintet. So I played the oboe, and three of our friends played the clarinet, and another friend played the bassoon. And we would go around the churches and we'd play these musical instruments. So we were friends and we'd hang out with each other. There were 5 of us. And then the Winans brought out their debut album. I think it was 1981, but the album was the Winans Brothers, and the first song in it was "The Question Is."
I know that one.
The question, right?
The question is. Oh boy, you brought back some memories with that one.
Yes. So if you listen to the intro is started by an oboe, and what did I play? The oboe. So I practiced the oboe part, and we just started to sing the song, and we fell into our harmonies. Nobody taught us what to sing. My sister jumped on the piano, and that's how we started singing. I started singing in a girl group of 6. I added my stepsister, and we were called New Dawn. That is how we started singing and who influenced me. Now, of course, after that, I got into Richard Smallwood, got into the Hawkins Singers, of course. We loved Commission and Fred Hammond, and so it goes on and on and on. But we would wait avidly for the next best, biggest gospel album.
All right, I just want to throw this out there because, for starters, you're awesome, and you have great musical taste. But most of the people that you just named have a strong Detroit, Michigan influence, and that's where we're based out of. So like your name and stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that person, or I know that person.
Yeah.
But let's get back to the point. Like New Dawn. Now, New Dawn was formed, and what made New Dawn just kind of, is it, I mean, I know there are members in the Kingdom Choir now with New Dawn, but what made it a thing where I guess where you sang and then you want to do something bigger with the Kingdom Choir?
Okay, so the kingdom. Right, we also belong to um, a London-wide gospel choir called the District Choir. It belonged to my church, was the Church of God of Prophecy. And out that choir, some of the members went on to help out on a radio program. The radio program was called The Gospel Train. And on this program, they would record the services. But of course, the services would also need a choir, and we would go in and help out these choirs. After a while, they were just calling us to do things. So I put members together from the district choir. Anyway, this went on for a while, and we got ourselves a reputation. And one day we got a call from TV, and they said, "Oh, we like your choir. Would you like to come and sing on our program?" I said, "Yes, I'd love to do that." And they said, "So what's your name?" And I said, "Oh, we don't have a name, because of course we'd only ever been the Gospel Train host choir." So they said, "Well, you'd better get a name by tomorrow." So that night, I fell asleep, as you do, and I dreamt of the name the Kingdom Choir. Now, I didn't even know what it meant. I didn't know, I didn't like the name, but I couldn't think of anything else. So when they called back the next day, that's the name I gave them, and that's when we became an entity, the Kingdom Choir. And that was in about 1994. That's how that happened.
That's awesome. Also around that time, well, excuse me, I take that back. A little past that, not only did you do well with the Kingdom Choir and you've helped and you taught music, but this, and correct me if I'm wrong, this love for music, it taught you and gave you more of an aspect to go back to, or I don't want to say go back to attend ministry school.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, you went to Bethel.
I did, yes, I did, for 9 months.
Okay.
For 9 months.
Bethel has, and this is coming from a guy not attending ministry school, but they have a certain reputation of not being, best case scenario, the most diverse place in the world. Was that more of a culture shock?
Yes, absolutely. And I think if I had known what it was like there, I'd have never have gone.
What was it like there?
Well, it was, as you say, not very diverse. I think in my year of about 700 people, there might have been maybe 5, 6 black people.
Okay.
And then, of course, of those, I was in the minority because I was British. And there are about 3 or 4 of us from England, and not many more others. But, you know, and also a lot of them were about half my age. And it felt like a lot of them came from Middle America. So I was completely out of my comfort zone. So those were the challenging things. But I also have to say that those were some of the best years of my life, that I learnt so much and came back with tools to equip me to do this life. And I do often think that if I had never gone, would I be on the path that I am on now? I really don't know.
Now,
I really don't know.
Now, as far as the path, I feel like I'm obligated to ask this question. And I know you've answered this so many times, and I hate to sound like a broken record. But how did the royal wedding happen? You talk about the path, and that has to be a huge turning point. I'm sorry to beat the dead horse, but can you give me the? I know you laugh because here's as a guy, I did not go out of my way to watch the royal wedding. I just didn't. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
I got it. Here's how I looked at it. I saw the royals, and I saw Meghan Markle, and I said, "Oh, that's the girl from Suits. We get it." And that is all. And then my wife DVR'd it, and my wife said, "Look, if she DVR'd the royal wedding, she said, if you don't do nothing else, watch this part. And it was you guys. So I'm like, okay, y'all got a little soul. I see what's happening. So now I'm a guy who I don't exactly follow the royals. I just kind of know who they are and just let them happen around me. So for you to be, for lack of a better term, whisked into this world, how did that story happen? You were doing your own thing. You were already part of the Kingdom Choir performing for dignitaries. So how?
Oh, okay, so and we were already doing our own thing. However, at that time, I had come back from Bethlehem in 2009, and I didn't start the choir up. I couldn't. I was a completely different person, and so the choir was really quiet until about 2013. So the point I'm making to you is that actually the choir was, we were at that time maybe rehearsing every other week, and it's just a group full of a small group of us. We'd meet in my front room. So at that time we weren't actually doing very much at all. However, there was a young lady who used to be in the choir about 10, 11 years ago, and I hadn't seen her for many moons, and she rung me up out of the blue. And she said to me, Karen, I guess you're wondering why I'm calling. She got down to the point pretty quickly. And she said, Karen, you're going to get a call. And I said, really? She goes, yes. But I can't tell you what it's about, but Karen, it's big. Now, it turns out that this young lady was very good friends with a member of Prince Charles's staff. And it turns out that Prince Charles is the one that likes gospel choir. Everybody thinks it's Meghan, but it was actually at the invitation.
That's where I was butting there. If I had to guess, I thought it was Meghan too.
Yeah, everybody said that. And in fact, sometimes in the media, they'll call us Meghan's choir, which is a little bit, I think, a bit cheeky, because I think Harry was also at the wedding. So at least call us Harry and Meghan's choir. But anyway, that's another point for another day. Mm-hmm. So, yes, that's why we're at the royal wedding, because Prince Charles actually loves gospel music. And to be fair, back in 2010, I took one of my youth choirs, or one of my school choirs, to perform at Buckingham Palace. And after the performance, there were several other people performing, but after the performance, he headed straight for the gospel choir and really took an interest in those girls. And that's, when my respect for him really went through the roof. Really lovely guy, very, very interested in my little gospel choir.
That's awesome. And that one phone call of that one memory made him think of you when it came down to one of the most important events that year.
Yeah,
but that's pretty cool. Now, here's something I heard. This is a rumor. Please confirm or deny this. If I'm wrong, just tell me.
Yeah.
I was told that the couple did not like your first few versions of Stand By Me. A little birdie told me that.
You're quite right. It wasn't the first few. It was the first 11.
Wow.
Version. Yeah. Because they wanted a version. We didn't quite understand what they were looking for. But what they asked for was something with less beat. They said, can we strip it back and pare it right down? And of course, the original, how it goes. It's got, a groove and a beat. And I didn't understand. So we were sending in all these versions and they were not working out. We even went to meet them, and we took a keyboard player, took a few of the singers, and we just cobbled something together on the spot. I mean, it was so basic, but as soon as they heard us singing, they said, yes, that's it. And you could feel something shift in the room, but it was so basic and so plain. We could not believe that that's what they wanted. So we took it away and we added, a few bells and whistles. And they said, no, we want what you did in the room. We tried again. They said, no, It's too indulgent. Try it again. Until we ran out of time. And we arrived at the royal wedding day without them ever hearing the final version first.
So wait, you got... Okay, please continue. Hold on.
So we actually had sent them 11 versions of the song. And they had said no each time. And then we just ran out of time. And so the 12th version is the version that nearly 2 billion people heard on their TVs or radios or whatever. But it was never, ever sanctioned or approved because we had no more time.
So, and I'm only just nitpicking here. I just want to make it plain. I'm only doing this because this is an interview and I ask questions. You can confirm. That last one wasn't sanctioned or given confirmed. So
no.
Technically, would it been 12 versions?
Yes, 12 versions.
Like I said, I'm splitting hairs. Like I said, so all right. Well, I guess if 500 million people think it's all right, I guess you could just roll with it.
Yes, I think so. It seemed to have done something for people. I mean, people still remember the choir and still stop me down the road, as I said. And I do feel that people were really, people of colour particularly really owned the wedding, and they felt so pleased to see themselves represented there. And apart from people of colour, I mean, everybody just really enjoyed the song. I was so surprised. Nobody was more surprised than me.
Well, Stand By Me did a lot, and you kind of nailed it, people of color, because it was unfortunately, the Royals do have this, it's so many protocols, so many pomp and circumstance, where you can't necessarily let your hair down, you can't necessarily do these things without fitting a protocol, so you can't, there's no room for freestyling and making some of your own. Meaning, when you take a group of people who are just very good at taking something, remixing it, and bringing it back out to make it this new thing, you kind of shut down a few people. So to see you guys do that, sorta, that was that. Now that's what I took out of it. But speaking of Stand By Me, I want to talk about this album because once again, in preparation for this interview, in preparation for the tour, I had to do homework on the album, and I listened to this album, I want to say 3 times from back to forward, and I just wrote down notes.
Yeah.
Now, these notes aren't criticisms. These notes are just my own personal feelings. And I want to give you the biggest thank you. Because when we sit here and talk about people of color, I listened to that album, and I feel so good. I want to thank you for nothing else. If you take nothing else out of this interview, I want to give you a thank you for Coldplay's Fix You. Thank you for adding some soul. All right, look. Since we've been talking for over 20 minutes, I consider us friends at this point. I want to give you a little backstory with me and that song.
Oh.
Okay. Here's the backstory with Coldplay. Just as a group. We're not talking about Fix You. We'll get there. But Coldplay as a group. I grew up on the east side of Detroit, Michigan. You don't know what that is. You will, because you're coming on tour. And you're going to get a little education of what that is.
Yeah.
And it's hard as a young black guy. Hip-hop is all around. R&B is all around. And then you show up with Coldplay. Granted, great musicians. However, it's not exactly the most popular thing. And when you take a song like Fix You, which has a deep and powerful meaning behind it, sometimes some people can't get behind the voice that's singing it. So Coldplay, let alone Fix You, never got a chance. So when you guys got it, you remixed it and you made it a gospel anthem, which
Wow.
is weird in itself because never in a million years I would ever hear Coldplay in a church. You guys get it? You made it in the church, and you guys have this great. Now I'm going back to the album as a whole. You guys got this great way of mixing secular and spiritual music together in a way where both parties agree. Usually,
Yeah.
they're usually at odds. Was that a calculated choice, or was that something that just like a happy accident?
And it wasn't an accident. I would say that it was calculated, and I think we were very much influenced by the response that we had to Stand By Me, which, to all intents and purposes, is a secular song.
Hmm.
But actually, the song was originally a spiritual. I don't know if you know that. It was. It used to. It was written by Sam Cooke and a gentleman, I think his name Alexander Douglas, and it was first written as a spiritual. And so we wouldn't, as a gospel choir, we wouldn't want to sing a secular song. We'd want to do gospel, but the royal couple requested it. So then, we wrestled with it a little bit, and then my sister actually found where the song came from, and the second verse is actually taken from Psalms 46. So that really encouraged us. And when we saw the response to the song, we thought, well, what we should do is actually find other songs that will not necessarily come under the banner of gospel, but really inspire people and have a strong message that people can take away. And Fix You was one of those. And it was arranged by a gentleman by the name of Mark Dillissa, a very talented songwriter, workshop leader in his own right. And yes, and he's got some great arrangers in the choir, actually. We're very blessed. We have many, many talents in the choir.
I mean, it is a powerful album because not only did you do that with those two songs, like it's mind bending in a way where all right, I'm gonna say this: Beehive, be nice. Beyonce's Halo.
Yeah.
Now that is a song in which I have told my niece while walking into church, "Hey, we ain't listening to that this morning. We gotta listen to church music. Well, let's get in church. Hey, turn that off." And I saw how you guys rearranged Halo, where I can totally see that being an A and B selection. I can now see it where it was like, oh my God, that is a gospel song. It is now, And when you take these songs, these powerful songs, I don't know if that's here's one of the notes I wrote: a gateway drug, because when you're singing, whatever you do in ministry, your job is to save souls. That's just your job. And since that's your job, I call it, like your album, the gateway drug, because there are a few people who didn't have the luxury of growing up with Christ or don't know nothing about the Word. However, when they hear your music, which is most of it on this album was secular, they can say, hey, I know that. And then you take these breadcrumbs to find gospel music, and you take these breadcrumbs. Why is gospel music prevalent in the community? And then you take these breadcrumbs and you go further and further and further. This is, now I know I'm getting super deep, super quick. But
okay, I can get with it.
But this is, and I wish I could take credit from this. I don't know if you ever read this book. This is a book it's called When Heaven Invades Earth by Bill Johnson.
Yes, I read it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's why I'm just saying this. It's a modified version of that idea, in which you want to. I call it the gateway drug because you want to show that these aren't exclusive things. There's a humanity in secular and spiritual in which this bridge can cross So you know
Yeah,
what? Let me shut up. I'm working on something, and it's not really
yeah,
thought out, but I think we're on the right track here. Is that
yeah. I
something?
yes, completely agree with you. So when the kind of Bethel ethos is that actually there is no sacred and no secular. That actually God is in everything. Now, we've taken these secular songs, which, granted, I would never have sung them. They would never have been my natural choice. But it all depends on the spirit with which you sing something. It depends on what you're releasing at the time of singing. And that's, I feel, is what the difference is here. So when we are singing, we're very intentionally releasing Holy Spirit into the song and into the delivery of the song. And what was the greatest surprise to me is that actually people receive them as such. They receive the song in the way that we are intentionally releasing them. They are not thinking, oh, that's a secular song, they shouldn't be singing that. They're actually having encounters with God and getting healing. And how do I know? Because we went on tour in England earlier this year. And some of the testimonies that came back were just mind-blowing.
I
Hold on,
I
sorry.
could
Hold on 1 second.
okay.
So, yeah. So really, just really incredible. And so it taught me a lesson, Sam. It really taught me a lesson that, I've grown up in the church, a cradle Christian almost. I thought that things had to be one way, but God is not to be boxed, and the way that He works, it can't be boxed. That's what I have found out. And so, it really does depend on the spirit with which you sing and perform and deliver, and
I
people receive it as such.
and you know what? I just want to put a pin in it right there because you're 100% right. I want everyone under the sound of my voice to get the album "Stand by Me" from the Kingdom Choir. Is it cool if we play a few songs going in and out of this
Oh,
interview because
please,
um,
please do.
and I want people to hear this. And I know I ate up a lot of your time. This was supposed to be a 10-minute thing, but honestly, Karen, you are what we call on this podcast new old friends. It's like we started off,
Oh,
and we just start gabbing, and then here we are. I want
oh, thank
everyone
you.
under the sound of my voice to see you guys live because I only assume the feeling that you got overseas, you got in London, you will get that over here. Well, technically, this is overseas to you. So, I only assume that you're going to get that here as well, where
I
people are
hope
going
so.
to have that same visceral reaction of your
Yeah.
music. But in the meantime,
Mm,
are you guys on social media?
we are. So we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, and we're on Facebook. So, and we have our own website, kingdomchoir.com. You'll find us on Instagram and Facebook as The Kingdom Choir, and also on Twitter, The Kingdom Choir. But you can also reach us via our website, kingdomchoir.com. Very easy.
Okay, yeah, nothing complicated about that. And
No.
Karen, thank you so much for just giving us a little bit of your time, a little bit of your message,
Yeah.
and I know you guys. I want you guys to have a great second leg of the tour because this
Thank you.
is, I mean, this is something that needs to be shown. It needs to be said. It's the wedding was good. We talk about
Yeah.
gateway drugs. The wedding was only the tip of the iceberg. What you guys are doing right now, and which I assume and I hope God's will shake on you, where you continue to do good things. It can only
Thank
go
you.
up from here. So thank you so
Thank you,
much,
Sam.
Karen.
Bless you. Really appreciate being on your podcast. Real honor.
Oh, thank you. Pleasure was all mine. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Bless you. Take care now.
All right, bye.
Bye bye.